What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Gamechangers. I'm your host and founder, Jalen Tart, and along with me are my partners and my fellas, Chaz and Joe. This is the last episode, the season finale of season 4. 4 seasons of Gamechangers, going on to 5, renewed for the 5th season. Like to thank One Way Radio and Sportscasters Network for the episode. Fellas, March Madness has started, NBA free agency, NFL free agency. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So fellas, LeBron and Anthony Davis are out, both with injuries. Anthony Davis with a hamstring injury and LeBron James with an ankle injury. They're on a 2-game losing streak so far. So I want to get y'all's reaction. So Chaz, we're going to start it off with you for this episode. How will the Lakers perform now with the absence of LeBron and Anthony Davis pushing for the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, the biggest thing they got to do is not push the panic button right away. There's so much time left. I really think, LeBron's going to do whatever he can to get back, like at whatever it takes. I'm not worried about him. I think that it's really going to be big on getting role players more experience when they're going to be the focal point of the offense instead of having 2 big stars leading the way. I think there's just so much time that they don't need to push the panic button. I was looking at they're talking about getting Andre Drummond too, which would be huge. I even saw people talking about Kyle Lowry. They're two big players that I think if you can sign someone to kind of ease the way into them getting back healthy, that would help a lot too. But if they just focus on getting players more minutes than they would have before and a bigger role on the team, I think they'll be fine. I think everyone's going to get healthy. And if not, that's when they really need to start to worry. But for now, I don't think they need to worry.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I just think I put on my notes that the Lakers just need to maintain. And by me maintain is, just, keep executing, keep trying, to get wins. Y'all know the trade deadline is like coming up. I think, like Chad said, that Andre Drummond probably going to join the Lakers. So, and I think Marc Gasol coming back in a couple of games. I'm not sure. But I know having AD out and LeBron out, it's going to be different. But I just put, if the Lakers just maintain, they'll be pretty good.
I agree. I think Laker fans need to pump the brakes a little bit and not panic. I think during the stretch of them being out for this extended period of time, this will show who will be the third scorer for the Lakers. So far, it's between Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell. We know how valuable Kyle Kuzma is to this team coming off the bench for them. Montrez, the dog mentality. I just think that this will put the Lakers in a better position when both AD and LeBron come back. That's all I have for it. There's nothing else. They can't get into much of a losing streak. They're third in the West, behind Utah and who? Phoenix. I know you say who?
Well, I think they're fourth now. They're probably fourth.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
But they can't go lower because when the playoffs start, and if they're still third, they could possibly play Portland, where Damian Lillard is playing his best basketball right now.
Mm-hmm.
But once they come back, you got to pick up the pace. We know that Utah's going to get the 1 seed, at least try to get the 2 seed. But for Laker fans, just pump the brakes a little bit and just be calm. That's all I can say. We're going to move on here to the NFL real quick. I know Joe is excited about this. I'm personally excited about this. So free agency has gone ridiculously insane. All these massive signings and whatnot. But the main topic is the NFL East. Is the NFC East, excuse me. Dak Prescott signing a massive contract deal. The Washington football team, now their main baby not changing their name, which is, to me, it's stupid. for you to be that lazy to not come up with a mascot or anything like that. But they're acquiring some pieces, and the New York Football Giants, they're getting somewhere. They're gathering some pieces, and the Philadelphia Eagles, I just didn't understand the Joe Flacco part. I just don't understand that part. So, fellas, after what's been going on in the free agency, Joe, we're gonna start it off with you. I know you've been dying to hear this. Who will win the NFC East?
Oh, Lord have mercy. To be on the safe side, I'm excited about the signings, but to be on the safe side right now, until I see my football Giants play some football, I'm still going to put Washington football team winning the division, but that's going to change. That's going to change. If, we do good, that's probably going to change. Just because, like you said, Washington also had a great free agency. They signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. They got underrated slot receiver in Curtis Samuel, which he is very good because we was looking at him too. So, Washington football team and their front seven is still going to dominate even without never mind, because he played for the Saints, not the football team. But yeah, I got Washington football team right now, but it's subject. It is going to change to probably my Giants because we have our number one receiver in Kenny Golladay. We check that box, fill up that spot. We got our CB2 and Adoree Jackson. We know he haven't had a great year last year, but due to injuries. But the year before that, probably one of the best cornerbacks that we had. So I'm very excited about this. The NFC East is going to be pretty good next year again. But to be on the safe side, I'm going to say the Washington football team.
Okay. I'll go next. I like Dallas. I think I'm not counting Washington out, and I'm not counting the New York Football Giants out. It's gonna be close for second place between Washington and the Giants. The only reason why I say Dallas is because the offensive front. The offensive the unit. I'm not gonna say the offensive front because we know the Dallas Cowboys doesn't have a good offensive line to protect Dak Prescott. But the weapons surrounding him for Dak to do what he needs to do. We knew Andy Dalton wasn't the answer.
Right.
But me personally, mine's is subject to change too.
Right.
I have a weird feeling that the Giants are gonna do so good. I mean, not the Giants, the Cowboys are gonna do so good. And when they get to right here and then they get to the holidays, they just go tipping down. They just go the whole just a avalanche effect where they just do terrible. They go terrible. I gotta go. I like the Giants. I have faith in the Giants. My only concern is this. We have to see how Saquon Barkley performs on a yearly basis with him being healthy, with and healthy Daniel Jones. I think with having an offensive line protecting him, we will see how Daniel Jones will perform. Now you got a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver in Kenny Golladay, a CB2 and Adoree Jackson. Leonard Williams?
Yeah.
You got Leonard Williams on the defensive end. They're going to be tough to beat. I think they will contend with Washington, with Chase Young. And people don't see this for Washington. Half of the team was from Carolina with Ron Rivera and him bringing those people in. They're going to be a tough team to beat. And now you have an experienced Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think this is going to be an underrated conference. I don't think it's going to be weak. I personally don't think it's going to be weak. But Philadelphia, I don't know.
Yeah. Philadelphia is the only team that's probably going to be weak.
They're pitiful. I don't understand. Why would you sign Joe Flacco when you have the draft to draft a quarterback and draft receivers and have an offensive line protecting Jalen Hurts?
I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. But Chaz, I want Chaz to get his answer. But I'm going to tell you why they did that. I'm going to tell you why they did that.
Yeah. So for me, the pick is going to be the Washington football team again. I think that it depends a lot on what version of Ryan Fitzpatrick you get. because he's one of the most polarizing players I've ever seen. To be able to bounce around like that from team to team and have amazing games and then really, really underwhelming games, it's really interesting to me to watch it over the years. But I think he's a great transitional quarterback to figure out who the next face of the franchise will be. Again, the weapons they have on offense, a lot of young guys. Signing Curtis Samuel is a great addition too. And that front seven that's a front seven that'll win you a playoff game, and their biggest question mark was quarterback. And in a division like this, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is enough to get you into the playoffs. I never trust Dallas. You can't. It's
Right.
Downhill. Here goes. Dak Prescott's fresh off an injury. I think he'll perform, but I think it'll take a little bit to get back into it. And but the Giants are a big question mark for me. I think they could really. I think it's a big boom or bust type of thing. Like they could do some great things, but Saquon Barkley's got to be healthy, and Daniel Jones has to develop. And if those two things happen, then it's definitely going to be, I think, a two-way race for the finish between them and Washington at the end.
I agree, Chaz. I think what it is that if Daniel Jones does not show up, they're going to get another quarterback.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If Daniel Jones does not show up, they're going to get another quarterback. I think with Saquon coming off of the injury and you building that offensive line, it will help. And now that you have weapons now, I just think that that the Giants do have a legitimate shot to compete with Dallas and Washington for the NFC East title. Go ahead, Joe.
I just think that now with the Eagles, that Joe Flacco signing was a depth move. Someone who won a championship with Baltimore. I think it's really not a bad signing in a way, but I just don't see how that's really going to help in the long run because Joe Flacco is at the end of his career. But yeah, Philadelphia, sorry, Eagles fans,
they don't have no weapons. DeShaun Jackson is going to the Rams. He's going to the Rams. He's going to the Rams with Matthew Stafford. I don't know where Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey not even signed yet to a new team. I don't think.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Many people say that they should have kept Carson Wentz. No.
I mean, no.
He would have caused all that drama again if he would have stayed with Philadelphia. So now I'm a Colts fan. So now me just looking at it, this is a good situation for me for the Colts because one, you have an offensive line, two, you have weapons, and you have a coach that can develop you. That's the things that you need to win the AFC South because that's a tough division too.
Yeah,
Tennessee and Jacksonville coming up now.
And the reason, and also my bad, and the reason why I don't really think Dallas can win the division is because, I think Chad said this because Dak coming back, but we really don't know if he's going to be like back at his,
100%.
100%. And with the addition of Adoree Jackson, just if looking at the Giants secondary, James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson now, you got Darnay Holmes, Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, Julian Love. That's just, we have one of the scariest secondaries in the league, in the entire league now. Who can cover CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, those guys.
And look who's coaching them, Joe Judge.
Exactly. Now, the only concern I have for my Giants is the O-line and our run defense because we lost Dalvin Tomlinson. That was a big loss. I think Austin Johnson, who probably going to take his place, will do a good job, but won't be like that effective. And the O-line, we just probably need to draft a new guard. I'm thinking Slater probably. But this got to be a make or break year for Daniel Jones. There's really no excuse at this point. If he doesn't perform well and he got like clear weapons with a healthy Saquon, you're not going to be a New York Giant for very long.
Right.
That's just my thing.
So fellas, we're gonna move on to the serious situation here in the NFL with DeShaun Watson. So it's been reports that DeShaun Watson was involved into a sexual assault. I believe it was a sexual assault case, and there are now 16 allegations against him, and he hasn't spoken out since March the 16th. So, Joe, what are your thoughts on the case? Do you think that it's real? Do you think that he did it? What's your thoughts here?
I mean, I don't think he did it. It's just still a little concern to me. I just don't get, like, because this happened to many athletes, not like sexual assault allegations or anything, but just like anything. It people are money hungry these days. Not saying that he didn't do it, but like, why speak on it now? And he don't want to be a part of Houston anymore, or he just want to go to a new team. Like, you could, I think, if he really did it, and if it's been that long, why not speak back then? So I don't think he did it, but it's still, I still have questions about it, but I really don't think he did it.
Go ahead, Chaz.
Yeah, well, first, it's really upsetting. It's something that, like, it's just sad that that there's ever rumors or actual cases of this happening, regardless of whether or not it happened or not. It's just something that, like, I take very seriously, just with women in general. I think for now, like, you obviously have to get both sides of the story, because you just have to. You can't just destroy someone's reputation without figuring it out, and you also can't say that he didn't do. I mean, innocent until proven guilty, of course, but for now, it's just that the NFL needs to really make a statement and just show that they're not pushing it under the rug. They have to respect these women and their stories and stand by them until otherwise proven that he didn't do it or he did do it. And the sad reality of it is, until it's figured out, I mean, he probably shouldn't play if it drags on into the beginning of the year. There's a commissioner's exempt list. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Where you don't lose your money, but you don't play. And I think that would be a good in between for him, so that he's not getting cut out of his money until proven that he did or didn't do it. And I think it's one of those things where it's so serious, whether or not it's true or not, that the NFL just needs to really make a statement and make sure that they don't tolerate it. And if it's not true, then eventually it's going to be, you can move on from it, and Watson's name will be cleared. But for now, it's just such a sensitive topic, because you don't know if it happened or not, that I think it just needs to be handled properly and then move on from there.
It's very puzzling. I say puzzling because it came at a random time to where he wants out of Houston. He's been wanting out of Houston for so many months, and then this has came up. Tony Busby, who is the Houston lawyer, said something about it in a press conference, but he has not said anything since March the 16th. That's almost 2 weeks ago. Until we hear something come out of DeShaun Watson's mouth to know what really happened, we don't know who to believe at this point.
Right.
I believe that what is done in the dark will come to light. If he has done this, he has a problem. He has a serious problem of wanting to prey on women and massages and doing these sexual acts with these women. But the thing that's bothering me is that they're staying anonymous. We don't know who these women are. It's like it's multiplying day after day. I think it's a trend. People, once somebody sees it and know their status, because I think we know that DeShaun Watson is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He has what 126 million. He has $126 million. It's up there. He has like one of the biggest contracts in the NFL. It's all about the money. Like what Diddy said, it's all about the business. It shouldn't be like that. I guess my take is that we just have to hear from him personally. Someone has to sit him down, interview him, get his side of the story of what happened, and just go on from there. But hopefully he's not in the wrong of doing this. Hopefully, but if he is, he's in a world of trouble. We're gonna move on here. So we already discussed about the free agency in the NFL. So the winners and the losers in the free agency. I'll go first for this one.
All right.
The winners for me, I like the Rams. I like what the Rams have done. They're signing Matthew Stafford. I think he'll perform exceptionally well with the Rams under Sean McVay. Great offensive core, great defensive core as well. With his time being in Detroit, it wasn't really his fault. It was more of a front office fault. They never should have signed Matt Patricia, and they should have fired him way earlier than him staying there for 4 seasons. So him working with Sean McVay, they have a chance of winning that division, but it's going to be tough. I think this will elevate Matthew Stafford's career, even though he has been in the league for quite some time. The losers, the Green Bay Packers. Them not extending Aaron Rodgers' contract is bogus to me. It's very bogus to me. I think with him off of winning the MVP and him not taking that 4th down snap in the NFC Championship game, it's just I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Right. That tells me that you don't want to win a Super Bowl with one of the best quarterbacks we have seen in the NFL. I think that if he does say he will win a championship in Green Bay, if he leaves, he'll win a championship somewhere elsewhere. But I have the Green Bay Packers as the losers in the free agency. Chaz, you can go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, we already talked about the Giants. I think they're an obvious winner in free agency this year. Mm-hmm. Another one would be Tampa Bay. Re-signing Brady, restructuring his contract was huge. I think giving him another year is, you could potentially win another Super Bowl in that time. And then they re-signed a bunch of key players like Gronk, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, franchise tag Godwin. I think when you keep all those weapons in that core intact, there's no reason they can't win another Super Bowl. It's very, very possible. And for me, the biggest loser's got to be Chicago. When you look at how high they were looking to get Russell Wilson, when he names you as one of your top 4 destinations, you got to go all out. And I'm not saying they didn't. Seattle, they did offer a good trade for Seattle, but the fact that you didn't get Russell Wilson and then you settle with Andy Dalton, the difference in caliber of player there to me is just baffling. Chicago hasn't had a good quarterback in forever. When
Jay Cutler.
And Jay Cutler is probably one of your top 3 quarterbacks in your franchise history. And Jay Cutler is one of the laziest quarterbacks ever. Like
I agree.
The potential was there with Jay Cutler, but when that's your historically great quarterback, it's not cutting it. And for a franchise like Chicago, they're starving for another championship. And when you settle with Andy Dalton, that's the biggest loser in free agency to me. Mm-hmm. If you can't get Russell Wilson and that's who you settle with, you can't do that as a franchise. So they're the biggest loser to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
For the winners, Giants had a great free agency, but I also think the winners are the New England Patriots. I just believe Bill Belichick, still thinks that Cam Newton is their quarterback. And in free agency, he just him in the front office just did what they had to do, went after guys, like Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, Juno Smith from the former Tennessee Titans tight end, bringing back Kyle Van Noy on the defensive side, signing Matt Judon, they're looking to compete in a tough division they have now because of, the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, on the rise up. So for me, I really think that the New England Patriots are the winners, and the losers. I also picked the Chicago Bears because, like Chaz, he broke it down perfectly. Like seeing Andy Dalton as a franchise quarterback, and I mean, I think they was trying to like give up Khalil Mack in a first round for Russell Wilson or something like that. I'm not very sure, but they're just the losers because you can't really just settle with Andy Dalton being a franchise quarterback. He's like 33, 34 years old, and seeing him franchise quarterback, that's not going to cut it. Like you bring back Allen Robinson, he agreed on the tag, but yeah,
that was a
that's
mistake.
Chicago not looking good right now.
I will say this. I think a loser, in my opinion, is the Baltimore Ravens. Them not getting on the phone with all of these receivers that were free agents and not picking up one is pitiful. We know that Lamar Jackson does not have weapons, but I forgot to tighten his name. Y'all can help me out here.
Mark Andrews.
You said who?
Mark Andrews, right?
Yeah, Mark Andrews. There we go. They needed a true number one. You had Kenny Golladay. You had Allen Robinson. You had Chris Godwin. You could have did something. Curtis Samuel. If I was Lamar Jackson, I would be living right now. Because how are you going to win with a tight end as your number one receiver? That cannot happen. And then Mark Ingram is gone. He's gone to Houston. You have no running back. It's just going to be a weird year for the Baltimore Ravens. That's telling me now that the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Cleveland Browns or the the Cincinnati Bengals is winning the division. I think another winner here is Arizona. Them getting AJ Green will help AJ Green's career in Arizona. Yeah, and they got JJ Watt. So I think with Kyler Murray, this will help his game tremendously. I like Arizona. Here. So go ahead, Joe.
Oh, and with Arizona, they also required the center Ronnie Hudson, who been in the Pro Bowl a couple of times with the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that was a great signing too. But the thing I disagree with you on, Jalen, is the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe Joe Burrow, he's going to come back and play pretty good again. But Cincinnati just not ready to like compete against the teams like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
I agree. But my point, I see what you're saying here, but my point is that Cincinnati did something in the free agency, and we have not seen nobody signed with the Baltimore Ravens. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna do this or that, and we're gonna do this with the New Orleans Saints. Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. Who is starting next season for the New Orleans Saints? Joe, you can go first.
Week 1, whoever they playing, the New Orleans Saints will start quarterback Jameis Winston.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be Jameis Winston. I think he's turnovers away from being a great quarterback. He cut those in half, and he had LASIK eye surgery. People tend to forget that. Yeah, he couldn't read street signs properly, and he was throwing for 5,000 yards. I think that with a year learning from Drew Brees, the progression's got to be there, and I think it's going to be a good year for him.
I think with him, people don't forget either, with him being in Tampa Bay for 5 years, he's thrown for 126 touchdowns. He's capable of being the starting role. I just didn't understand how Taysom Hill beats you. I like Sean Payton and I like the decision making, because he knows what he's doing. I just don't understand how he didn't give you the head nod instead of Taysom Hill. I think Jameis Winston has progressed. We will see if he does get the QB1 spot. We will see, but I think he's worthy of getting the QB1 spot. he will lead them to at least continue to second or third, because if whoever's going to be the quarterback in Carolina, Trey Lance or Justin Fields, they will lead them to be a true underdog in that division. But it's going to be between the Bucs and the Saints again for this upcoming season. So that will do it for this edition of Game Changers. So the Game Changers of the week, we have two of them. Steven Silas, who led the Houston Rockets out of the 20-game losing streak to finally break the losing streak. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks that Steven, we feel bad. He finally broke the losing streak. And Julius Randle from the New York Knicks, 37 points, 7 made 3-point attempts in a 21-point win against I forgot who they played. That cool.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this before we end. The Knicks will be a problem if they get Kyle Lowry or Lonzo Ball in this NBA free agency.
I hope so. But Julius Randle.
I mean, because look, Thibodeau has changed the culture. They're fifth in the East.
Yeah.
Nobody expected this. Nobody expected this big turnaround. Julius Randle, he's finally found a home. I think with him bouncing around teams, coming to New York, they will be a team to contend with in the near future. So, fellas, that is it. We thank everybody for a great season. Catch us on season 5, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out, y'all.
Take care.
Peace, y'all.